Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Talking Shit with your boy, the sophisticated jerk and the manic genius.
Yo,
Yeah, so today, man, we're gonna review the clip of we got a financial expert talking about, why you shouldn't do the 50-50, and we gonna break that down. So y'all know we the 50-50 guys and shit. A lot of people out here delusional, hating and shit. So let me cue that up. We'll jump right into it. So
oh,
all
she's
right.
saying hold on. She's saying we shouldn't do this.
Yeah, well, she's saying people shouldn't, split costs 50-50. Here's why.
Oh, okay. I'm about to pull out my notes.
Oh yeah. Pull out your notes. We about to dissect this.
If you make $250,000 a year and your partner makes $75,000 a year, we should not be going 50-50 on the rent. It is not a commensurate burden on the person making less. Over time, that's going to lead to financial resentment. Now, you still have all of this discretionary money that you can spend on the rent, you can spend on all these other things you want to do, but I'm spending a huge portion of my income likely on rent. And then I have no money left over. If you truly love your partner and you truly want what's best for them, I don't believe in equality when it comes to splitting things down the middle. We are never going to be 50-50 partners. Someday it's 80-20, other days it's 20-80. But you should be fair. And I think it should be a proportional burden of whatever that expense is based on your income. If you make $250,000.
All right, that was pretty much the clip right there. Sorry, man. What's your take on that? You think she's on to something, about being fair? So do you think things should be
My initial take is I understand where she's coming from. I absolutely understand where she's coming from, and the whole mathematically, if you did the average of the example she used was 250 and 75K. So I mean, where's my calculator? I don't feel like doing math. It's a long day. I usually like to do this math off the top of my head. I'm not even going to try. Let me go to the calculator. Yeah. So make 250 and the other person makes 75K in her example. That's a total of 325. And then divided by 2. That's equivalent to both people making about a little over 162,000 a year.
Okay.
So I see what she's saying. She's saying that like, hey, if both people made 162,000, then 50-50 would be equal. But so I get what she's saying in this whole idea of fairness, financial fairness. But the reality of life is that it's one of my fundamental principles, and pretty much why I'm successful. It's because life is not fair, and the faster you embrace that shit, the better off you'll be in life. If you sit up here and be like, "Oh, this is not fair. Such and such gets this, or this and this and this," it's a loser mindset. And when you have a loser mindset, you're gonna fucking lose. So, if I were talking to her, I would tell her, "Hey, if you're the one making," because I feel like if she was on the spectrum on the 250K side, she'd be like, "Well, I make this money. I've worked really hard to get here, and you're only pulling in 75,000. Like, you're not going to have the same, say so between my finances." Like, it makes more sense that way. It makes more sense that the person who's, worked harder, and I won't say necessarily worked harder. I'm going to say worked smarter and picked a lane to where they can do the same amount of work in the same 40 hours and can make more from that. That person probably needs to be in the lead making decisions. So when it comes to this whole 50-50, like, absolutely, it's 50-50. And a lot of times, and I particularly have a problem with this because a lot of times one person will, let's say, more realistic, one person might make just 100,000 and the other person might make 30,000. And it's like, oh, I only have to contribute a little bit of my money. No, you guys should be living financially on that person who's making the less amount of money. That's your lifestyle. That's your quality of life. And I mean, I'm not going to steal your thunder, but we talked about it a little bit and why that just doesn't work out, because at the end of the day, life is not fair. I'll just pass it over to you because I already know you're gonna slam this shit down.
No, you was definitely cooking, man. And I like how you broke the math down. And it's just like, I get the fairness thing, and I like how you put it. It's just like life ain't fair, but it's like, okay, let's play with the fairness thing. So say like that person that's making what she used like 250,
250,
and the
yeah.
other person's making 70. They take on more of the financial burden in the house. So say they get a divorce, the person that makes 70,000, or say the female in this case, like she went to court, she's not going to be like, "Hey, Your Honor, I only put in 70,000, annually, while this person was taking on majority of the burden, whether it's like 70 or 80% of the bills." They're gonna be like, "I want half." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So fairness goes out the window when
Exactly.
they're gonna get a divorce court. It's like, "Hey, I want half the shit. I deserve it." That's what all those like buzzwords gonna come. Forget that person took on all the burden. So yeah, that don't exist. So hell nah. Like you said, like if you want fairness, then there needs to be a fairness law. Like, hey, what did that person contribute? If they did like the 70%, then guess what? On the back end divorce, you only get like your little 20-30% what you contributed. Then if that's how you want to be fair. So yeah, that's why the fairness don't exist. And like you said, yeah, nah. What if females like you? I like the example that you put was like, hey, if she was on the high end, end of the salary range, and we typically hear a lot of females say this. They'll be like, well, if I was making more than that guy, then he's got to be ambitious and he's got to kind of rise up eventually.
Yeah.
Level the hell up. You know what I'm saying? Your ass only making 70,000. Like, you need to level up there, because that's what they always say. Like you said, they ain't gonna want that. They'll be like, nah. You need to have the mindset. That's what they typically say to keep leveling up and get to that range where I'm at.
Yeah, I would say
go ahead.
I was gonna say the only exception I would make is if that person who's in the 250 lane has an expensive lifestyle. Now, if they're just out here spending, they want to buy the biggest house, they want to buy the most fancy car, then yes, absolutely. Y'all need to adjust y'all expenses to the point of like, okay, this person's making all this money and he thinks he can buy, or he or she thinks that they can buy all this stuff, buy luxury like clothes and purses, and like, then that makes sense where it's like, okay, we're not going to do 50-50. It's going to be like prorated based off of what we're actually bringing in. But that's because somebody's being fiscally irresponsible. That's the only case where I would see it go her way. But if you have a person who's more on the fiscal responsibility part that generally makes more money, which kind of goes hand in hand, you guys should be living a downgraded lifestyle to where her 50% contribution, if it's the 75 in this case, is sustainable. Like you should look at your salary and be like, hey, we need to live on this if you want to do that 50-50. And I'm just a fan of people living below their means, because you have the future you have to prepare for. And I mean, when you talk about kids and how expensive everything is, like you just have to make that sacrifice. It's fun to go out here and make a lot of money and take trips around the world and like post pictures and everything. But at the end of the day, you got to think about your legacy and what you're leaving behind. And some people who don't even have children, you can, there's charitable organizations, there's like foster, like, there's so much stuff you can do with money, even if you just want to invest it and give it to your just your legacy. So
yeah, and that's the funny piece, because a lot of times when people have these conversations and stuff, and it's almost like that other person needs to do this. But if is because I was having this conversation with my wife and I was breaking it down, and I was just like, okay, say I was only making 70,000 and the other person was, contributing more on the bills, I would be willing to like sacrifice. I want to be coming to that person like, hey, I want to have my trips. I want to, have expensive tastes, because I would understand the amount that I'm putting in versus that person. So I wouldn't want to be putting that financial burden on them, because it's funny, she said financial resentment. So financial resentment doesn't only just go one way. That person that's taking on that burden could also have financial resentment down the line and be like, you know what, damn this, I'm paying for everything, which I don't mind taking care of stuff. But typically the person that makes that lower amount, they're gonna be like, hey, I still want my trips. I still want to buy certain things and stuff. So they're not gonna take in consideration like that they're putting in a lower amount. So it's almost like, hey, I'm going to be resentful, so you need to be wareful of that, but I don't need to be wareful of the resentment that you could have and stuff. And I'm not,
Yeah.
I do need to kind of lower maybe some of my expectations and standards based on what I'm contributing to the household versus putting everything on you. Because what we always tell people is like, man, people do burn out. They'll be like, you know what, I'm getting kind of tired of this shit. This person still has all these demands and stuff. They want to still, I gotta want to have fun all the goddamn time. So yeah, nobody ever talks about what they need to give up since they contributing a little less in that aspect. It's always like, hey, that other person needs to do this, until, like you said, you reverse the roles and shit, and then put them in there, and then they're like, nah, that person needs to level up. They need to do this. They need to respect this. So yeah, I like how you flip that scenario. So yeah, now these kind of conversations, like I said, we good at trying to bring out all the different angles, because a lot of people give a pushback on 50-50, but it's just like, you don't have to do it, but a lot of people are waking up, because a lot of people just want that reciprocal relationship. Like, man, I don't give a damn what y'all say. Like, man, if we're gonna go fairness, it's gonna be across the board, because we do see a lot of like divorces and how stuff plays out in divorce court. And like I said, I never seen nobody say, hey, Your Honor, I didn't put in that much, so let's be fair here. Let me only get like 30%. That ain't never gonna happen. So that's what I'm saying. Fairness goes out the window. It's only like, hey, let's be fair when it benefits me, but when I could gain, fairness is, I'm not worried about fairness. So it needs to be consistent across the board. But anything else on this, man?
Nah. I mean, it's. I mean, I don't want to invalidate her perspective, but I can tell she's not coming from a place of experience when it comes to the relationship dynamic of somebody making that type of money and somebody else making like less. Because to your point, she was like talking about the financial resentment. If that lower person is like, I'm financially resentful because I can't, this is coming out more for me. It's like, maybe you need to lower your life standards and find somebody who's in your range then.
Yeah.
How about that?
And that's a good point, because that you just reminded me.
Yeah, like, why don't you just and then like, instead of looking at it being financially resentful, why don't you just look at it as being financially grateful that you're in the presence of somebody making more than double you? More than triple. Like, be grateful. Shit, pay your bills. Shut up.
But kind of hearing this topic, man, it does make you think, like, if you're a guy, you're at a higher tier, man. And it's funny, because you remember we was having a one podcast and we went around and everybody's like, man, what's the lowest amount that you would like, dollar amount would you mess with a female? Because typically, like, females be like 6 digits and guys be like, oh, I'll take the McDonald's worker. And mine was high as hell. Everybody's like, man, what would be the lowest amount you'll take? And I was like, I forgot what I said, like 140.
I remember
140.
You said 132,000, and you went down to like damn near decimal points.
Yeah, but it's just like, man, I think if you
and
make
I know that's
like high,
yeah, because you make more money now.
yeah. Wait, so it's just like, yeah, you got to be equally yoked, because that's the mindset of a lot of people, man. Like I said, they want to put it on you, and man, I can't mess with no broke chick. That's why I tell dudes, man, stop messing with these broke ass women, because like I said, they want you to be fair, but shit, if you think they could be fair on that back end, if something happens, that shit, you crazy as hell. So
yeah, because I mean, just the mindset of my experience with women has been like, they might be making $50,000-$60,000, and then like I'm up there, definitely 6 figures, and they don't look at it as like, oh, now, I mean, they look at it as like, we make 6 figures, like we can do this now, we can do all this stuff. I'm like, no, this is what I have, and like, sorry, my money's already appropriated. Like, I invest. So it's just like, even though I might have all this money on paper coming in, like, I live a modest lifestyle. Like, my car's paid off. It's not an old car, but it's not a brand new car either. It's 2019. So, but it's paid off, and it's been paid off. It was paid off when I bought it. But it's just like, that's because I put money away. And I think so many people live for show that it like messes up their head, and then a lot of people just don't have it. So when they finally get it, they're like, oh, I want to get that experience and spend it. I mean, I know I was there once.
yeah, And yeah, like I liked all the points you hitting on and stuff. And it's yeah, I'm selfish. I just say it now. Like, man, if I busted my ass, I would have retained my money. Like, I ain't about to be in here. You ain't, because I think so many people try to shame people into taking. Oh, you're not a man if you don't. Like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, I'm selfish. I'm gonna protect what I built. Not
Mhm.
about to dole out money like that. And like I said,
No.
man, like definitely get somebody that's equally yoked because it's just like, man, people have broken mindset. So shout out my wife getting that bread and shit. Yeah, I told you I don't
Hey.
mess with no broke women. But the last thing I want to just say, man, before we kind of head out of here, it's like, man, who gives a fuck if y'all are resentful? Like,
Yeah.
man, and guys, man, you got to get over that shit. Because I hear guys saying it too. Well, man, if we don't take it on, they're gonna be resentful. Man, most people are gonna be resentful regardless. They're gonna be resentful if you take on a lot of the burden. They're gonna be resentful if they stay at the house. They're gonna be resentful if they go to work. Man, you gotta stop caring, man. Like, shit. At some point, a lot of people are just gonna be resentful. But like you said, if a good person is gonna just be appreciative that.
Mhm.
Like I said, they're with a good person. So if somebody's always resentful and you worried about that, it's you're with the wrong person, and also you ain't got no fucking backbone because you're just so scared of what a chick is gonna be mad about. So it's just like, nah, man, do what you feel is right. If you went out there, you earned it, and you want to protect yourself, like it is what it is. Like, man, stop being scared what other people think. Because yeah, people be always giving us pushback. I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck what y'all think. Yeah, I ain't gonna pay my lawyer fees if I get a divorce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shit. So yeah, stop worrying about people. I just wanted to get that last point out. So
Oh,
yeah, because I'd be
yeah,
hearing
nah.
somebody, oh, they're gonna be resentful. Oh my god. I'd be like, man, if y'all scary ass dudes, so shut up. You know? Yeah, and I wish he mentioned it in the video. That's why I was just like, oh, here they go with this resentful stuff. I don't give a damn who's resentful. I'm resentful, goddamn it. The fact you try to get me to pay more makes me resentful. So how about it? We
Yeah.
got two resentful people. Who's gonna win? Because I'm not gonna do it. So who cares?
Mhm.
You go to your corner, I go to mine. I'll take your ass on. You know,
Yep, she
either
go to her
take this bill or leave it.
$75,000.
Yeah.
She go to her $75,000 corner. You go to your
Yeah.
250.
Yeah. I got 250, you got 75. Like shit. Yeah. Well,
You
I'm gonna
resentful.
go
I'm
on a
going to
cruise
trip.
with
Yeah.
your broke ass.
Yeah.
Talk about some resentful.
And I'm gonna fly first class and make
Yeah.
you fly. I'll make you fly.
And I'm about to get that Rolex. But all right, y'all. We out of here, man. Peace.
All right.